This is 51st Dates, and I'm your host, Jolie Moore. They say that hindsight is 2020. I decided to find out if that's true. Every week, I'm going to read a chapter from my memoir, 51st Dates, then give you the backstory and commentary on what really went down. It's been 2 whole years since I went on these dates, and I'll be experiencing them along with you as I read. We'll find out together if my future self learned anything. I don't know if I have anything figured out, but at least we'll share some laughs along the way. Dating in Southern California is nothing if not entertaining. Ready? Strap in. Let's go. Welcome to 51st Dates. I'm your host, Jolie Moore. Good morning. Welcome to November. You know what? Can I just tell you? What I think will kill anybody's enthusiasm for dating is actually reading or listening to podcasts about dating. So I stopped reading books about dating, but I was still clearing out my podcasts app while driving because, well, in our sort of semi-post-COVID world, I'm back to driving a lot. And one of the things I've been listening to, listening to dating podcasts has totally discouraged me from dating because all it sounds like it's going to be is what I found exciting and enthusiastic before would be draining. So I was reading these statistics. Apparently, like people on dating apps, in addition to the thing I said last week about a lot of them not ever going out on dates, which makes you wonder what the frick they're doing, that when people are on apps, they spend like 90 minutes a day on them. That seems like a whole lot. But I mean, I've been on there and there's just so many people. And then it's like, say yes to people that you wouldn't say yes to, but say no to gym selfies and dead fish. And I speak sarcasm and, I don't like drama and all of that. And to be frank, it feels like you just be saying no to everyone, which, begs the question of why pick it up in the first place. And also, the apps feel a little bit like, I don't know, like diet plans or something. Like we have this billion-dollar diet industry and most people don't lose weight or keep it off. And then now we have this billion-dollar dating industry where people don't date. So lots of people like take, I guess, gym selfies and get on apps and then, I don't know, ask for sexy pics or send dick pics or just want to chat with you without ever wanting to be in a relationship. And it seems exhausting. All I want to do is kind of like see how much work I can get done on any given day. And that's not a great attitude to take into dating. So, it's still kind of off until 2022. In the meantime, I'm actually now stacking up healthcare stuff. I went to the doctor and they're like, we've lowered the age of, recommending a colonoscopy and all this other stuff. And all I can think of is, yay, that sounds like fun. It sounds like fun to be probed and prodded and put under anesthesia. I can't wait. Sign me up. It sounds like a joy. So I'm an adult, so I'll do all the stuff, but that feels like that's going to take a lot of time. My child takes a lot of time. And writing books actually takes a lot of time. And, adding a person to that who, how can I say this? I guess I'd have to date a different person because all the other people I've dated, the person I married, they want like 20, 30 hours a week of me to attend to whatever it is that they need. And I have not had that reciprocity of anybody who, look, I probably said this like weeks and weeks ago, but like, my greatest desire was like to have somebody like wash my car and like pump gas. Like if somebody could just like cut that 35 minutes a week out for me, I'd be so eternally grateful. Somebody supportive who maybe made dinner one day a week, but I've made dinner every night of my life, except maybe in college. But my mom stopped cooking when I was like between 10 and 13. She tapered off kind of rapidly. And so either my options were takeout or cook for myself. So I cooked for myself because that was easier. Takeout wasn't what it was now. There was nobody, you don't put your finger on the phone and people show up at your door. You had to call or pick up or whatever. And I did a lot of that. So cooking was fine, but I cook like all meals from scratch every day. And I know you don't have to do it, but takeout's not great for you. And it's sort of a habit. But I just would like a relief. Like, and somebody said this on a podcast that when she admitted to herself that she just wanted help with certain things, like just somebody to carry things, it was a big deal. And I think I'm at that stage. Like I would just like somebody in it with me and not me in it with them and them in it with themselves. And that would just be a nice change. But how many dick pics do I have to get to that goal? I don't know. I mean, I do go out and do things, but volunteering for theater is not a bastion of straight men. I will say that. And although I love it, so I would not give that up. But I do know that there's the opportunity to meet people in real life, and I do get out. I just haven't turned my attention to that. And I'm feeling a little discouraged about that right now. So, I'm going to put that on the back burner. But in the meanwhile, let's talk about these dates. I'm at 46, and I think there's going to be 5 or 6 more weeks. And I'm not going to suggest that it gets monumentally better. Chapter 46, The Physical Therapist, December 6th. I have to wonder if this is some evolution. Instead of dating people who are either super attractive but emotionally unavailable, or who are generally good looking but sane, I appear to be moving toward the latter. Today I had my first coffee date with a guy from Tantric Speed Dating. He grew up just east of Los Angeles, has a normal family, friends, a 14-year-old daughter. Now, I'm going to be honest. I started the date like I ended others, thinking about Thunderbolt, while I was waiting for Mr. PT to get to Starbucks. Yes, he was 45 minutes late. More rain. I was texting Thunderbolt. He's out of the country doing freelance work, and between our travel schedules, I haven't seen him in weeks. Can admit that I miss him a lot. I'm even 99% resolved that I'm going to tell him how I really feel when he gets back. Anyway, back to Mr. PT. This, ladies, is probably the high-quality guy so many are looking for, lack of punctuality notwithstanding. He has not just a job, but a career. Check. Loves his daughter and his family. Check. Is open to a long-term relationship and marriage. Check. Is in good shape. Check. Is working on improving his body, mind, and spirit. Check. And yet, zero chemistry. I don't have a solid reason as to why. My first thought was maybe it's because he's not a creative. If we love in other people what we love in ourselves, there's no wonder I'm attracted to storytellers. A creative, a storyteller, he was not. He likes food, wine, travel. I mean, right before he saw me, he was hanging with his grandfather, for fuck's sake. He'd even taken a break from serious dating while his daughter was going through the awkward years. Now that she's more interested in friends than her parents, he's interested in dating. I want to say more, offer an explanation as to why I, who am looking for a long-term relationship with someone who's not crazy, could not gin up interest. Now, all the experts will tell you that there's no reason not to go on a second date, though punctuality turns out may be my deal breaker. I'm thinking about it as a possibility. I, at least, left the door open. Me, thanks so much for a lovely afternoon of great conversation. Have a wonderful evening. I'll be having soup. As an aside, we both have a ridiculous love of soup. Mr. PT, I'm so jealous of you. Smiley face emoji. Well, thank you. I enjoyed all of our conversations. Anytime you want company for anything, I'm open to simple adventures. Keep in touch. Rose emoji. Simple adventures. I can invite him out for soup. We could talk, hang out, talk about kids or California or life. He appears to have the 2 most important qualities for a relationship: emotional intelligence and emotional availability. If I don't choose a second date, then maybe I don't have either of those. It's food for thought. That guy, I remember him. He was not very tall, I don't think. I think maybe he was like 5'5", 5'6". I don't know why I just said that. Oh, because he was stocky. So he's one of those guys who was like very stocky and worked out a lot, but wasn't tall, which is kind of a thing. There's a lot of guys who aren't tall who spend a lot of time then working out. I'm not saying that's bad. I'm just saying sometimes it seems like an overcompensation for something that's not really an issue. This guy was late. This guy grew up in Southern California, and yet, I swear to God, his excuse is traffic. I managed to leave my house and get there on time despite the rain, and I left a little early. You know why? Because it was raining in Southern California, which makes a traffic snarl. He picked the location. It was a Starbucks. I think it's like the Magic Johnson Starbucks. I forgot about that. But there was a time like in and around South LA when there were no Starbucks or Targets or whatever. And I think Magic Johnson somehow like facilitated opening one there. There was a Magic Johnson Theater, Magic Johnson Starbucks, and who knows, something else. This is dating myself in LA history. But he was late. And look, I can carry a conversation and I can hold a conversation with anyone, but he wasn't a big contributor to conversation. So what I found out is that he's a physical therapist. Oh my God, I'm trying to remember. He somehow traveled. So he would do physical therapy, like he would drive somewhere or fly somewhere. No, it was driving because he didn't fly. A few days a week and see clients or patients and then come back. I don't think I'd quite remembered why there was the travel aspect. And he had gone to college somewhere in California. I can't remember. Who knows? There's some backstory because he had a 14-year-old, but I think he was younger than me. So he'd probably had a kid in his 20s and off again, on again relationship with his ex. Although, he didn't actually talk about her. So that was great. I love a date where they don't talk about their ex. Yay. But he was so late. I think the guy at Starbucks gave me coffee for free. He was like, "Oh, you've been here a long time. Can I get you something?" And I was like, "Sure." He was like, "What would you like from the menu?" I was like, "Can I have like a chai latte?" And the guy was like, "Absolutely." He's like, "What's going on?" I was like, "I'm waiting for a date." He's like, "Have you been stood up?" I'm like, "I don't think so yet." He was like, "But here's a free drink." So the guy at Starbucks was real nice. And look, he probably showed up at work on time. So I think his excuse was that he had visited his grandfather in a nursing home in either Santa Monica or Beverly Hills. And the drive over in the rain in the mid-afternoon was awful. I don't believe it. But what I think is that he said that he didn't really want to date. And I think that was still true. He was at speed dating at that. Look, let me stop. I think what he wanted was sex. And he was not one of the guys who's like sends a dick pic and goes, "This is what I want." But I think that he wanted sex and that kind of companionship without putting in much effort. And I don't think that he was, as I thought apparently then, emotionally available. He said he wanted a long-term relationship, but nothing that he did suggested that. But who's to say? I'm not an expert in it. But I will tell you, spoiler alert, I did go on another date with him, and perhaps that's what the next chapter is about. Who knows? I may have gone on a date in between. I'm not sure. But he was nice enough. I mean, there's no nagging. This is horrible. It's horrible when I'm summing up a person into what he was not. He didn't nag and he didn't send dick pics. He also didn't show up on time. So it was not sufficiently different from other dates I'd gone on. It was still not a lot of effort. It was a coffee date. I think probably my suggestion, because guys never seem to have a thought as to what they could do. Like, it makes me wonder, how do they date if they literally have no idea what that would entail? I'm like, they're like, "Would you like to go out?" Usually I have to ask them. And I'm like, "Sure, let's go." And they're like, "What would you like to do? Where would you like to meet?" And I have to pick it all. And then, part of the reason they're late is because they're never on this side of town or in this area. But what it suggests to me is that I'm obviously not that much of a catch, and maybe I'm not that interesting to them. And therefore, they're going to put in low or little effort. So not going down that road again. Although, to tell you the truth, maybe then I would have far fewer dates, maybe more high quality dates, if I only dated people who asked me out and made a plan. How many dates would I have had? 1? 2. Maybe 2. Maybe not 51, maybe 2. And that probably says a lot right there. I'm Jolie Moore, and this has been 51st Dates, the podcast. If you enjoyed listening, I hope you'll share, rate, and review it on Apple Podcasts. It will help others find the craziness that is dating in Southern California. Also, please hit the subscribe button on your podcast app. If you'd like to read ahead, my memoir, 50 First Dates, is available wherever books are sold. A link is always included in the show notes. I'm also a romance writer. If you want to know more about my books, please visit joliemoore.com for more information. You can also follow me on Instagram at xojoliemoore and on all social media at the same handle, xojoliemoore. Thanks for listening, and I'll be in your ears next week.